Hey, hey, hey.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to our inaugural broadcast.
2.0.
Yes, inaugural broadcast 2.0. And we have a doozy today. Essentially, what happened yesterday was that we weren't able to create a VOD.
My fault.
And, it's a learning experience. I didn't think to look for it either. So, what will, going forward, if you're not able to tune into the broadcast live, you'll be able to watch it under either the broadcast section of Twitch, and then we'll also look for, at a later date, some YouTube clips as well, once we're able to edit those out.
Absolutely. So we're kind of going to be rehashing some of the stuff that we talked about yesterday, and who knows, maybe we might tangent into some other stuff since we have a little more time today. Pretty much the reason we're rehashing is I know some of you guys wanted to watch but weren't able to tune in when we were actually live. But unfortunately, the video on demand wasn't there because, we're stream noobs and I didn't know that was a thing you had to enable, but learning curve, here we are, VOD is enabled. So we are good to go.
Great.
Let's dive right into it.
That's right. And so now that we have the VOD in the process of being made, we can go ahead and do some quick introductions. My name's Nick Bruner. I am a recent traveler into the realm of crypto. Started about last year, around this time of year, and decided to invest to get better returns than I was getting in my savings account. And I actually did far better than either my initial predictions or the savings account. So everything worked out great for me.
Managed to have quite a nice vacation
That's
with
right.
some of the profits.
That is absolutely right. I had initially saved up some money for a trip, and then by the time February rolled around, I was able to take a nice 2-week-long vacation to Europe and really not break the bank because I had just made enough off crypto from the previous years where it just didn't matter.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Better to pay for a vacation with basically free money rather than have to pull the linings out of your pocket.
That's right. Exactly. So I'm just here to help bring my knowledge and expertise and passion for crypto. I've got a little bit of skin in the game now. It is a bear market, which we will be talking about here soon.
It is.
But an important thing to note about that is that all bear markets come to an end eventually. And so right now, you can think of all the coins as being on a deep discount.
Bargain basement prices, baby.
I mean, literally, these charts, we can dial it on over to one of our chart pages.
Yeah,
we can
absolutely
take a look at that exact dip.
And we're running off of a 7-day chart here, straight from CoinMarketCap. This is what the last week has looked like in the world of Bitcoin. Lots of sideways movements, followed by upward pumps, followed by sideways movements, followed by downward falls. That's basically been the story of every trader's life this past week, is just trying to keep the profits locked in and not lose out on some of these dips. Which, up until recently, I've always been anti-tether, but now it's looking more and more like a viable option.
Yeah. Before we go too deep into tethering and why that may be a strategy you want to include, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm just getting way ahead of myself. Well, my name is Jay. I got into crypto around the same time that he did. When I got into crypto, we actually didn't know each other, but we met shortly thereafter, and I believe it was at like a bonfire or something, and I mentioned Bitcoin, and it just kind of ran from there, and kind of ended up where we are today. Much like him, I do have my own skin in the game, not as much as he does, but skin in the game nonetheless. I'm I guess you could say I'm a day trader. I don't trade every day, but I don't like to leave my my trade's locked in for too long.
Mhm.
I have ADD really bad, and it makes my anxiety hurt. But as far as my experience in the crypto world goes, I actually had the opportunity of working with a company with a token in ICO called CareX blockchain platform. And their ultimate goal was to decentralize the healthcare marketplace and make insurance policies much more accessible to everybody, and giving them a lot more flexibility in choosing the coverage that they want and they need. So with CareX, I actually worked as a community manager, meaning it was the goal of my team and I to drive the social media awareness, help sort of spread the gospel of CareX and extol its virtues and what have you. It's very successful. It's currently out of ICO now. They are currently in the process of fighting with the SEC and the Future Commodities Trading Commission with determining whether or not they have a viable financial product or a security. But I have complete confidence in the legal team and the financial department there. I know they'll get it sorted out and have this platform up and running for both healthcare providers, insurance companies, and private consumers. So that's where I'm at in crypto right now. Got a couple things in the works with some bigger companies. Won't delve into that too much yet. I don't want to jinx it or anything. But it's looking up, looking good. And so yeah, we linked up, Nick and I here, and we realized there was a pretty big gap in the streaming market for unscripted, raw news in crypto. So we sort of decided to make this an adventure and run with it, see where it gets us, and all we can do is hope for the best and try to make the best of it that we can.
That's absolutely right. And your experience working with a coin in ICO helped really, I would say, open your eyes to the possibility of ICOs, to help kind of see things from the other side. Would you say that your efforts were successful? You were able to build some awareness there and really get into the community.
They were actually able to hit their ICO cap. They sold out, not as quickly as some other ICOs, but they did reach their goal. So as far as I can tell, the community managers and social media team accomplished their goal pretty quickly.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. Now, I know you said you do have a couple other projects in the works, and we won't elaborate too much on those.
Yeah.
Until we can get some positive results there. But at the end of the day, what we want to stress is that we're just a couple guys who are very enthusiastic about crypto.
Mm-hmm.
We have some knowledge that we'd like to share on the stream.
Absolutely.
But I would say maybe our forte or our strength really is going to be bringing the enthusiasm that's already there in the market, in the community, and connecting that with local businesses, with different business owners here locally and in sort of our immediate community, as well as within the state, within the country. We can even talk internationally, talking about businesses that are involved in crypto.
Yeah, and another one of our goals is to sort of quash the misconception that you have to have loads of money to be an investor in crypto, which simply isn't true. Neither one of us have tens of thousands of dollars in our bank account, let alone in our trading portfolios. We're just your average, everyday working guys that just so happen to be interested in crypto, started trading, and was moderately successful in doing so. So that's one thing we hope to accomplish with everything that we talk about in this stream. Just bringing more awareness to the fact that you can be just your average blue-collar worker and be successful in trading and investing in crypto. You don't have to be some big Wall Street whale to have fun and gain some experience in investing and trading, and hopefully, if you play your cards right, profit.
Yeah, that's right. And especially if you think about traditional investing routes, you've got your mutual funds and your stocks and your bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And those, to a varying degree, are either going to be slower than crypto, to say the least, in terms
Much,
of getting
much slower.
in terms of getting your profit there, or way slower. I mean, if you look at a mutual fund, for example, the fees that they have to pay out
Mm-hmm.
and everything really kind of reduce their profit margin. Stocks themselves, it can be very much a hit or miss,
Yeah.
depending on the actions of one individual CEO. Is that true of coins also?
Yeah.
Perhaps, but at the same time, you're going to be able to take advantage, like we were saying before, if you can buy the dip, so to speak,
Yeah.
in crypto, with a stock, you might get a nice, healthy, let's say 10%, maybe 15% if we're like absolutely,
Mhm.
stars align and,
Cosmic winds are blowing.
That's right. You get this great situation. The company has an amazing quarterly earnings report. They roll out a new iPhone, whatever the case may be for this company. They're doing it. They're doing it well. They're making tons of money, and you end up 10% up.
And that can be over the course of months.
That's right.
Even a year or so.
That's absolutely right. So think about the timeline here. So we have 12 months of not trading, just sort of buying stock, and then letting the price run.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you're looking at a 5% gain after everything's taken into consideration, commissions, fees, etc., and maybe 10%, if you're pushing it. Now, could you get lucky, strike it rich with the Amazon prior to their explosion? Maybe,
Sure.
but the odds are very low.
Yeah, and it's very much like you said with the Amazon. It's very much it's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
Mm.
Like you got to be in the right place at the right time. You got to pick your entries, pick your exits, and strategize it. But where in traditional markets, it can take you a year to even see 10%. It's not uncommon in a bull crypto market to see people making 10% profits a day.
That's right.
And that is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. The crypto market is extremely volatile. We're still in a very wild west sort of frontier where everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. But those kind of results aren't uncommon in bull markets.
Yeah.
Probably not so much right now since we're kind of moving sideways a little bit, but once the bulls are back in town, those kind of gains are definitely doable.
Just to put it in perspective, so right now Bitcoin we can see here on our chart, Bitcoin's trading at right around, let's say, 6,200. So 10% of that, 620,
Yep.
would get you not even up to 7K.
It puts you right at about 6850.
Yeah, right in there. So 6850. If you were buying today, 6850 is very attainable. I mean, there are some predictions out there. I can take these with a big old dash of salt, but there are some predictions out there that say Bitcoin will reach 50,000 by the end of the year.
Absolutely, and there's even some that are bold enough, without naming any names, that I think Bitcoin will be $1 million by 2020.
Yeah. Now, we may think that is a bit of an overstatement.
Yeah.
However, if you really think about it, at the end of the day, whether it's a fraction of these predictions, you're still way up.
Yeah. Gains are gains. Like that's for sure. And there are some coins that, in the perfect conditions and everything, I've seen them jump up well over 100% in a day. Whether or not those were pump and dumps, it's left up to debate, but I have seen it happen. You just have to be in the right place at the right time, which I guess is a good opportunity for us to sort of throw out this disclaimer here. Both Nick and I, we are not accredited investors. We are not investment advisors. anything that we talk about here is strictly our opinion, and we try to stick to the facts as much as possible. Um, and I definitely believe that everybody should BYOR or do your own research before considering any sort of investment, whether in a traditional market or a crypto market. So please, if something you heard here in the stream goes terribly wrong, I'm sorry, but that we are not advisors. We are just here to give the facts as best we can and run with it from there. So if you do have any questions about strategies or anything, we would be more than glad to sort of point you in the right direction. But please don't take any of that as advice.
That's right. And I mean, at the end of the day, like we said before, we're casual investors. Certainly not taking out mortgages on our homes and throwing it into Bitcoin.
And maxing out credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, what credit card will actually allow you to buy crypto these days?
Well, not much anymore, but I know a lot of people were actually taking advantage of that and just maxing out, $10,000 spending limits on crypto.
Why don't we dial back the chart just a little bit, just to show kind of the extent of this possible peak? If you want to just dial it back to the 1 year.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay.
So now this may not look like an insane pump, but let's just keep these numbers in perspective here.
Yeah.
I mean, around the time we were talking about getting invested, which is down here on this end. Let's call it somewhere maybe around here.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
Late summer area, about. Because when I really got into it, it was right around the 5K region.
So now let's trace this. So we're looking at about 5K here in fall and kind of mid October there. And there's just a ramp up. I mean,
there is.
The price goes from about 5.5K and really scrapes up against 20K.
Yeah.
That's over a 3 times investment. I mean, there are no stocks that you can buy that will see this kind of growth outside of, I would say, the penny stock arena.
Sure.
And even in that case, that is a risky gamble. I mean,
yeah, and really, honestly, in order for a penny stock investment to really pay off, like you have to have loads of skin in the game. Because you're trading against, a penny stock can range from anywhere from like 1 cent all the way up to a few bucks. Whereas a single Bitcoin at the time we're talking about here was around $5,000. So if you were to hold on to one full Bitcoin and ride that growth all the way up, you more than tripled your money.
That's right. And now, one thing about crypto, a couple things really stand out to me looking at this chart. Number one, potential gains, definitely there, definitely worth sticking around. And like we said before, just buy the dip, get in there. And speaking of dips, if you take a look here, we've got a couple really big dips, even after the peak.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin reaches its peak. We're there right around December.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Christmas for everybody. It's fantastic.
That's right. I mean, I'm off planning trips, going up to different cities, went up to DC, saw my family, and they were like, hey, what's going on? What's new with you? And I was like, hey, I'm just happy that I'm able to be here, spend some time with the family, and really, go out to restaurants, do all these things in sort of a vacation style, without worrying about it, because crypto had just been so buoyant. I mean, it was just unstoppable. But I want to call your attention here. So once the peak had been reached, we reached the all-time high. After that, there was really some volatility.
Extreme volatility, and a lot of people, they'll say that it's following the Chinese New Year trend, where right around the beginning of January into the first couple months of the year tends to be a very bearish period in crypto trading, and you can see evidence of that from its all-time high with a very sharp dip over the next couple weeks, and it lost a couple $100 of value, but ultimately it maintained here for about a month and a half, and then it just kind of pushed downwards past sub 10K, and we've just kind of been chilling there ever since.
Yeah. And even in February, there was a bit of a reverse of that trend. We had, right around here.
From here to here.
So that's going to be kind of a nice February pump.
Pushed it back above 10K, which everybody was really happy about that. We kind of built a nice line of support there at 10K. Everybody thought that was a solid, not overvaluation or undervaluation. It was a nice, comfortable area for everybody to be in. But around that time, there was a lot of controversy with the SEC. Lots of companies were being hacked. There were 51% attacks, which we'll get into all those technical terms at a later time when we might actually put together a best of the crypto scammers stream at one point in the future.
Yes, and so that's a lot of points definitely to bring up based off that. Kind of following up on the scammers and keeping in mind that while we will not give you a strict portfolio recommendation and a entry point and a timeline to invest in, those are decisions ultimately you're going to have to make for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we will make recommendations on which coins to stay away from due to potentially fraudulent issues.
Absolutely.
Or let's take DBET for example.
Yeah.
DBET was listed on Cryptopia, an exchange based out of New Zealand.
Yep.
And I've traded on Cryptopia, and
it was actually the first exchange I traded on.
Yeah, I find that although it's very accessible in terms of getting kind of your feet wet in that way, sometimes the volume just isn't there.
Right.
And if the volume's not there, sometimes you can run into a situation where you kind of buy into a coin, but it's hard to get out, especially if there's not a lot of buyers. Who's going to go and buy your bags of obsidian after it tanks?
Really?
Who's going to do it?
I did. I rode that shit down with you.
Oh man, good old obsidian. But getting back to DBET, so DBET actually really had been kind of going through a period of decreasing volume over time from its all-time high there. And I believe it was in about January, February timeframe, right around where we saw kind of the highs of Bitcoin and everything like that. And the New Zealand, I believe it was the New Zealand government, reached out to Cryptopia and said, we have a list of coins that meet our definition of a financial product.
Yep.
Due to your licensing to operate within the country, New Zealand, and everything like that, you can't have financial products on your page, so here we go, you have to delist these. Some of those coins were able to reverse that decision by submitting paperwork showing they were not. However, DBET has been getting all kinds of news in the Twitterverse as well as in other places because it was pulled and it just wasn't able to get back on. They weren't able to submit those documents, and now DBET is only traded on one exchange.
Yep.
I think it's HitBTC.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So if it's only on HitBTC, and
which will deal a major blow to its trading volume by cutting out one of the, not a major exchange, but a fairly well-known one.
I do believe the volume on Cryptopia exceeds the volume on HitBTC. I believe HitBTC is the 7th rank. Cryptopia might be 5th or 6th, so there's definitely some merit to the argument that if you cut the exchanges, if you cut the volume, how are you going to dump coins?
Yeah. What do you do with those bags?
You're just hodling.
Yeah, and I have my own opinions on hodling.
Well, why don't we flesh that out for someone? They might be tuning in here. They might not know what hodl is. So what is hodl? Where did it come from?
So hodl is actually a bit of a, what do you call it? It was a bit of a happy accident that happened. I want to say it happened on like Reddit or something like that, where some guy was talking about, just hold on to your stuff. You'll see returns. I promise. Well, it turned out to be a typo where the individual was trying to spell hold, but ended up spelling hodl, HODL, and everybody just kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
And now hodl, HODL, stands for hold on for dear life.
Yes.
Which means, if whatever bags you're holding just kind of goes into a dip, just hodl it and hope that it comes back up. Now, my opinion, and I'll be blunt, hodl is dead. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but in my experience, I've been left holding bags of various coins, Verge. Sorry to any Verge people out there, but yeah, hodl is dead.
You can always get that Pornhub sub,
Yeah, that's about all you're going to do with it, because of all the attacks that have happened on Verge, and to a lot of people, they see those kind of partnerships as questionable. Because porn is, for the most part, free and easily accessible by just about anybody.
And on top of that, speaking about that specific case, so Verge reaches this, I would say, relatively landmark kind of, agreements with Pornhub to allow just users to pay for a premium subscription using their coins directly. They didn't have to transfer it into Bitcoin, they didn't have to transfer it into fiat. They could just take the Verge, send it in, and you get your premium sub. But the interesting thing is that it felt like a couple weeks. I mean, it couldn't have been more than like 3 weeks. After the initial announcement of Verge and the Pornhub sub agreement, rather, 2 other coins were added on by Pornhub to be accepted, and there's some excellent advertising for that as far as the Tron one. The video for that is actually fantastic. I wonder, can we take a look at that?
Do you know where I'd be able to find that?
I would YouTube it.
Okay. Let's see, I'll just pull it up over here. Alright. So let's see.
Be Tron Pornhub.
Might work if I can type Tron Pornhub. Well, maybe we'll find it.
Yes.
The future has come again. Okay. Let's load this up and see if we can get it to play.
Yeah. For our younger viewers out there, this is a bit of suggestive content. It's very clean. So we've got basically the story is we won't have audio, right?
We won't be able to hear it, but it's actually being piped through up here, so.
Okay, great.
I hope so anyway. We'll find out later if somebody tells us it wasn't.
Yeah, we'll run through and check the VOD here. I do see the audio indicator going. But essentially, these guys are showing this a wonderful commercial. What was that game? Like the Rings of Uranus?
The Rings of Uranus, yes.
Still got your V card?
Nice little play on words there. Double entendres and what have you.
That's right.
For that. Anyway, everybody knows in the future you can see all the porn you like. Push.
Yeah, right. And Donald Trump will be president.
Really what's interesting to me is the production quality here. I mean, we're talking about a porn website that came together and put out a very high quality ad.
But you gotta think though, Pornhub's a $1 billion company. They can afford to put stuff together like this.
You want to know what I really want for the future?
I believe that game that he was playing was called Donkey Dong.
Have to carry cash.
Donkey Dong, alright.
And I was right.
So this is going like very Black Mirror.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Still playing that same game.
Yeah.
And
I can't believe it's been
and it switches it up.
since Collins disappeared.
Yeah, 36 the last time you've done it. Those were good old days.
Yeah.
Invaders of Uranus, that's what it is.
Oh.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go private for 10 minutes. See you later.
about to switch over and
Hey.
Pornhub and pay for its sub using Tron.
This guy right here, that guy had a lot of Tron. Like, he's holding big bags. You see that? It was like 143 million Tron.
It's a lot of Tron.
Yeah, man. Get comfortable.
There
Look
it is.
at that.
There it is.
I'm sorry, I thought that Verge had some excellent advertisement for the Pornhub partnership, because they went out and bought all these armored vehicles and scantily clad strippers and nice looking women and marched them around New York during Blockchain Week, nonetheless, where there's hundreds of thousands of blockchain professionals and enthusiasts there for conferences and stuff.
Great advertising list.
Yeah. They even minted their own little like collector coins and stuff and handed them out to people in crowds. And I want to say about a couple months later, they were hacked and crippled badly.
We can take a look at that probably on the Verge chart.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
See where that actually ended up going. We probably don't need the Pornhub Tron ad.
No, we'll just use this for. Oop. Trying to type too fast for my own good here. So let's take a look at good old XVG.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got here. So it's dropping down in rank.
True.
Volume is kind of not looking so hot either. But let's just have a look at the chart here. Let's break this down.
I hate to see that.
Yeah.
Was the announcement the timing of that? Was that in this phase here? Did it coincide with that that chart movement?
That's a good question. Let me actually have a quick look here. I don't want to give you wrong information.
Try to find this for example.
Yeah, it'd probably just be better to do it that way. I think I may have broke my phone. Okay, there we go.
That was April 17th.
Okay, so yeah, you're right.
Right around Young 420.
You?
And so
420
April 17th. So here we are. Really, oh man, that's that peak.
Actually, if you look at it, April 17th is right around here, so that only constitutes this little pump right here. So April 17th, the day that the announcement was made, they actually caught it on a downtrend and only caught a pump of like maybe 6 cents.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they thought that the partnership announcement was foolish and a poor choice. Now, I can understand the use case of it, Verge being a privacy coin, ensures your privacy. Verge coin in and of itself is already very anonymous, it's very small, very fast.
It is.
But the creators of Verge added in that second layer of anonymity with the Wraith protocol, which basically operates the same way as as you would access incognito mode in Firefox or Google Chrome or anything like that. So it gives you that added layer of protection, scrubs your wallet addresses, your IPs, to make the transaction basically non-existent.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out, this is a perfect example of a common trend in the cryptoverse that new and old hats alike need to be aware of. There's a mantra among people who buy and sell, and if you hear a rumor about a coin,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
buy it. But as soon as the actual news comes out, you sell.
Buy the rumor, sell the news.
And it is very frustrating to deal with, because let's say that you're So I would say, if not emotionally invested, certainly financially invested, as
Sure.
well as, you know, interested to see that the coin and the project from Obsidian with their messenger app and their new website and all this, we're going to work out. Obsidian ran into this, Verge ran into this, almost every coin runs into this. And I believe it's due to chronic under delivery.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of the source of it. But essentially what happens is the coin has a project sort of rumor to come out. Now the rumors circulate organically and virally. So basically you're going to have the rumor start on, let's say we can talk about Twitter as a potential place where that might be. You can also look at the
Reddit.
official subreddit for the coin, or even other other
Bitcoin
forums,
Talk.
Bitcoin Talk, or even the much reviled 4chan can be a hotbed of FUD and villainy, because they truthfully they're all about that FUD life. So now when I say FUD, for those that are a little bit unfamiliar with the term, it's an investing term that stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yep.
And when you spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt about something, what are people going to do? They're going to sell. What happens to the price when people sell?
You panic sell, price go down. Price will go down.
That's right, and it creates a self-sustaining, force for then people who weren't going to sell are now saying, okay, well, other people are selling. Let me get out and get maintain my higher sell price, and then that just gets undercut, and that gets undercut, and then it just keeps
Everything
spiraling
just
out.
starts pulling the price down, pulling it down. People are willing to accept bigger losses just to protect their profits, and it just creates this giant, pardon my language, shitstorm of just tumbling prices.
Yeah.
You're good.
So, one thing I did notice, if we look back, kind of zooming in a little bit, so although we are in a downward trend,
Yeah.
I did notice something. Look at the speed of this.
That's
thing.
over just a few hours, too.
Yeah. So these are 5-minute increments. So from that little bump right there. So this is about an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
Whew.
So from 2 a.m.
Almost $200
to
in
3 a.m. Let's say 3:30. So an hour and a half to do that much movement.
considerable.
You're just not going to see it in a traditional stock, bond, mutual fund.
No.
I mean, even exchange traded funds. You look at. I mean, well, I would say the only time you might see that kind of price action is you're looking at options and futures and stuff, which is actually a growing part of crypto trading.
With BitMEX and everything.
And so we want to really bring that to light. Now, there are some substantial barriers to getting into BitMEX.
There
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have an IP based in the U.S., you're just unable to either deposit or withdraw. There's something there that kind of you can't fully utilize the website.
Right. So if you live in the U.S., I believe you can still deposit funds.
Okay.
They just don't make the futures trading available to you. You're still able to buy and sell, but you can't leverage anything.
Oh. Okay.
Which is the big hype with BitMEX, is leverage trading and margin trading and what have you. I think that this downtrend that we saw within the past couple weeks is due in some part to the futures trading, with a lot of people shorting Bitcoin. Basically, and when I say shorting, I essentially mean betting on it to fail, or the price to go down. So everybody was just hugely successful while Bitcoin was downtrending, and they were shorting it, and people were leveraging like 100 times and just making buku Satoshi returns and just walking away from the game. And I think that had a significant part in why the downturn was as pronounced as it was.
Yeah, I mean, volume's way down
Mhm.
across the board, but you know the market caps are really just. I mean, if we take a look here, I mean there are some crazy differences. I mean, the daily volume, if we look at just regular coin market cap here. Now, I want to call your attention over here. We've got different market caps here. Bitcoin's market cap, if it falls below, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it falls below 100 billion,
Futures trading is dead.
it's no longer able to trade, to do any kind of options on it, you know, futures trading there. That's a big deal.
And we're right there. We're only 6 billion off.
Yeah. And what that says to me is I think that there's going to be enough support, you know, because we have had, you know, Bitcoin dip down below 6, but it was very briefly.
Yeah. Very, very. It would the sub K or 6K dip only lasted about a day, so it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm. We look what the order book looks like here for Bitcoin. Oh, this is Tron. Good old Tron, man.
Mhm. So much red in the market today.
Yeah, it's been a bad one.
You can just click the USDT trading pair over on the side right there.
Nice.
And Bitcoin. There you go. Whew. It's a sharp dip.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. So, I did want to spend some time, perhaps not for our inaugural broadcast, but
Yeah.
I do want to start incorporating some information for you there at home about how, you know, what to look for in a chart.
Yeah,
And, you know, how to gauge whether it's a good time to buy in or not.
Yeah. There's all sorts of technical analysis indicators that'll sort of give you an idea as to where it'll be going. I personally am not a huge technical analysis or TA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge TA guy. It's a foreign language to me.
Well, and also, I mean, even if you understand it quite well, which we admittedly have kind of a layman's understanding of things, if you look at chart analysis, you're really only able to work with data from the past, and it's
Yeah.
difficult to make a prediction about future behavior off that, because, I mean, you don't know when the correction's coming.
Yeah.
So, like, on something like this, you know, if it was a stock, you would see a correction, you would buy the dip, and you'd be in.
Yeah.
With crypto, that correction might not be for a week,
That's very true.
2 weeks even.
Very, very true. And I know there's a lot of guys out there that rely solely on TA to make their entries and exits with various other coins and stuff. But to me, like there's a lot of market psychology at play, especially in the crypto world, where I think it's a little more prevalent than it is in the traditional investment realm. Because like I said earlier, there's a lot of FUD that goes around. People are FOMOing in, and FOMO, F-O-M-O, is fear of missing out. Nobody wants to feel like they missed the bus, especially the people that bought at the top last year,
Yeah.
which feels bad. But
I feel so bad. If you bought Bitcoin at about 18K, I feel so bad for you.
that's a tough one. I luckily I had my sats locked in, and I think that was the first time I ever tethered was when that first dip happened.
Now, we had mentioned tethering before. Can you explain a little bit what you mean by tethering? You know, Why do you do it? What is it? You know.
So Tether, the trading signal is USDT. Basically, what Tether is a crypto alternative to holding your investments in, for all intents and purposes, fiat. So imagine Tether as basically being a digital US dollar. It's a stable coin, and it's the company Tether they're actually able to match one Tether to one US dollar in a perfect ratio. So they have funds that they hold in order to make sure that one Tether equals one US dollar. So in a bear period where the market's kind of pulling back a little bit, you're seeing a dip. Instead of selling out to fiat, which has there's fees to do that. Most exchanges have a USDT. I'm sorry, binary pair. So instead of going back to fiat, you do what's called tethering and sell your investment into USDT to hold in hopes of an upturn in the market.
That's right. And would you say that it's easy to move between Bitcoin and Tether?
Yeah, trading between Bitcoin and Tether, Ethereum and Tether. Tether is, they're always expanding their trading pairs. So it's much like trading on just any other coin. I mean, you just find the USDT trading pair that you want to lock in, and you just sell your Bitcoin for the USD equivalent and lock that in.
I mean, I think it's wonderful. I mean, I think tethering is something that maybe in the past we had kind of been a little bit dismissive of,
Dismissive and skeptical.
Yeah. But for good or for ill, Tether did some trading early on. Maybe they had a seed fund going where they had.
That was a trust.
Right. So they had their trust, but they hadn't put out the official verification that they had a 1-to-1 backing, and so it was kind of just on faith. And then supposedly they got enough money to where they built up that fund, so now it definitely is 1-to-1.
And they did release documents proving that, because there was a lot of skepticism, a lot of cynicism about whether or not they were actually able to meet that perfect 1-to-1 ratio between US dollars and Tether. So they put together a crack legal team and got their finances in order and documented everything that they needed to prove that they do have the funds to perfectly match to the US dollars. And I know a lot of people are still skeptical about it, but I've used Tether. I've never had a problem with it. I think that it's a good alternative to keep your profits locked in during bear periods, because if you leave your Bitcoin locked in during a bear period, the value is going to decrease. But if you go ahead and lock in those profits with USDT, as Bitcoin dips back down, that'll give you an opportunity to buy back in with those profits you locked in later. Thus buying the dip, and as it goes back up, generating more profit.
Yeah, very interesting to me to see that there is a fluctuation in the Satoshi price.
Interesting. It's funny. I saw Tether yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. It was $1.01.
Yeah. I mean, there's some fluctuation here in the dollars. Especially last year, Tether even dipped down to 96 cents and 93 cents. But yeah, there's some fluctuation here. But I mean, just look at that Satoshi. I mean, whew.
Man, if you roll back to April and July of 2015, where one Tether was, 480,000 Bitcoin? Or Satoshis, rather?
Right. Yep, about 0.5%.
Yep. but still maintain for the most part throughout that chart a stable $1
Oh yeah.
all the way across the board. There's going to be a deviation of a cent here and there. That's not uncommon in the market, but for the most part, Tether has pretty much got it locked in. There's some other sort of, I won't say competitors to Tether, but some other alternatives. There's True US Dollar, TUSD. And I think there's another one called NUSD. But I personally don't have experience with True USD or NUSD.
And those are going to be much smaller.
Lower cap, lower supply. But Tether, as they secure more funds, they will print more. I say print. They will print more Tether to make it more accessible to everybody, while still maintaining its value without hyperinflating it.
Yeah. So we are moving now. I do see we have an Ethereum chart pulled up.
Yeah, super volatile.
Right, and again, kind of going back to the theme here. I mean,
This is over what, one day?
This is the one day.
Okay.
Yeah. So, crypto is extremely volatile, which is why day trading and option trading, it has, made so much money for so many people.
Yeah, it has its perks, but to me, it is super complicated, and I don't understand how it works.
Now, when thinking about the, when thinking about the different options between Bitcoin, we've mentioned Bitcoin, we've mentioned Ether or Ethereum.
Yes.
Why would someone need Ethereum if they have Bitcoin?
Sure. Easy answer. Bitcoin's network is ridiculously slow.
About my Lightning network.
What about it? It's probably the slowest Lightning I've ever seen. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Bitcoin. It's the current Mac Daddy right now.
Oh yeah.
And it will be for quite some time. It has been since 2011.
Until the flipping.
Until the flipping happens. I don't know when that's going to happen, but the problems that I have with Bitcoin right now is that the network is super congested, especially in bear markets. There's a lot of people that are trying to sell out of Bitcoin, that are trying to buy the dip. So, just imagine a pipe of water. The size of the pipe doesn't change, but the amount of water being pushed through it does. Eventually, it's going to bottleneck, and it's going to slow down, and that's exactly what we're seeing here with Bitcoin. And when that congestion happens, the transaction fees go through the roof.
That's right.
I've seen cases where it's cost people $20 to move $20 worth of Bitcoin. What's the point in that? What is the point?
That's crazy, actually.
I have my own theories as to why the network is so slow. A lot of people may agree or disagree with me. I think that the forks are garbage, especially Bitcoin Cash.
Oh man, now we're getting in there. We're getting in there.
Yeah, I'm being bold and I'm going there.
All right. So why do you think? Well, first of all, what is a fork?
Okay, so a fork is a sort of change in the path of a mainstream coin. So you have Bitcoin running along this network, but somebody has an alternative to Bitcoin, if you will, that they want to try to start. So using that Bitcoin network, they integrate and they fork off and sort of create their own thing while still sharing the network. Now, in the case of Bitcoin Cash, which I think was Bitcoin's first fork, could be mistaken, I don't know.
They might have had some on their rise up, but certainly a big reason.
Yeah. Bitcoin Cash, a great idea in theory, because it made crypto, especially Bitcoin, accessible to people that didn't have thousands of dollars to spend on it. Because, where Bitcoin is at, mid sixes right now, Bitcoin Cash is trading below $1,000 right now.
Yeah, it's like 700.
Yeah, so that gives people a chance to sort of hop on the Bitcoin train without having to spend a fortune. Now, I know everybody knows the Bitcoin Cash prince. I'm almost loath to say it. Roger Ver. He's a bit of a shill. And I think he kind of inherited his position with Bitcoin Cash, but at the end of the day, I think Bitcoin Cash is a very good alternative, and it should still exist on the network, but I don't think Roger Ver needs to be in the picture. Because he's very toxic. There's a lot of controversy around him and how he got to where he is with Bitcoin Cash.
Was he the one that loaded the Korea FUD?
Probably him and Bogdanov. But it's all of these forks that Bitcoin has created, or not that Bitcoin created them, but have been created on the Bitcoin network that have led to this gigantic gridlock of the Bitcoin network. Because you have these forks that still exist that have super low volume on, like Bitcoin Diamond or BitGem, things of that nature. Like, what's the point of having those forks on the network if barely anybody is utilizing them? That's just creating unnecessary traffic. But circling back to why an alternative like Ethereum exists, Ethereum compared to Bitcoin is super lightweight, it's super agile, and it's really cheap to move. Where during a congested period on the Bitcoin network, it can take 45 minutes to an hour, and in some cases up to like 6 or 7 hours to get your confirmations during the transaction, and cost tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of satoshis in fees. Ethereum transactions are handled much quicker, oftentimes in a matter of just a few minutes. And I want to say the last time I moved a significant amount of Ethereum, it only cost me 6 cents to do so. So
Not $6.
6 cents.
Not $25.
6% of a dollar. So, yeah, if I had to say the flippening was going to happen, it would definitely be Ethereum knocking Mac Daddy Bitcoin off of its throne. Because we live in a society where instant gratification is a big, big thing. People want their stuff, and they want it now, damn it. Like, they don't want to wait. That's why we have Amazon Prime, free 2-day shipping. People get their stuff super quick. Nobody wants to wait for anything anymore, especially in a business scenario. Because if you're selling goods to somebody and you accept Bitcoin as payment, both you as the business owner or employee are going to have to sit there and wait until all of those confirmations happen on the network to make sure the transaction went through. Now, I mean, you could both be sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour. With Ethereum, transactions pretty much wrapped up within the next couple minutes. So,
yeah, I'm routinely at this point getting 45-minute delays moving Bitcoin from Coinbase, a common, easy to use, very intuitive site to purchase Bitcoin, Ether, the big few.
yeah.
And then, but transfer that over to another exchange like Binance, I mean, we're talking 45 minutes. Guaranteed.
And I want to say, like, when we were at the shop the other day, the retailer here in town that accepts crypto as payment, the fees for that transaction would have been, what was it, like $6?
Yeah, so it was to move, to withdraw anything from Binance actually charges a fee. And that was 50,000 sats.
Okay.
So it wasn't, it was about $3. So.
$3? But, that pales in comparison against how much it costs to move, Ether.
Now, is that because of gas, that Ether just pays for all these transactions using gas, and that's why, it doesn't have to get absorbed by the end user?
Well, as the user, as you move Bitcoin around, you actually sort of absorb that gas price. Now you have an option as the end user or the consumer. You have an option to pay with less gas or more gas. The more gas you contribute to the transaction and to the network, the faster that your transaction will be completed. You'll get your confirmations in no time. But if you're in a position to where you don't have enough spare ether, and you're not in a position where you're worried about the speed of your transaction, you can dial that gas down a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit longer, but still,
Better.
a couple
faster
more
than
minutes.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a couple more minutes if you're not in a rush? So I definitely think that in terms of practicality, Ethereum has got Bitcoin beat by a long shot, and not only because of the network or the network speed and the low cost of transactions, but then you have the entire ERC20 network
That's right.
that's built on top of the Ethereum protocols, and all these other coins are working towards building their own blockchain, which is what the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, is all about. He's all about decentralizing everything. I'll give you the tools that you need to build what you need, and once you get to a point to where you feel you can venture out on your own, create your own blockchain. We'll be more than glad to help you out.
Tron migrated from
ERC20. Yep, and now they're on their own blockchain now. Yep, their mainnet launched
They just
late last year, or not last year, last month, early this month.
They launched mainnet, but they needed a time period to transition coins from
the token migration. And fortunately, a lot of exchanges handled that token migration where you didn't have to withdraw any funds or anything to move them to an external wallet. So, for instance, if you were to have stored your Tron on, let's say, Binance, they just kind of said, hey, don't worry, leave it here. We got it. We'll make sure the migration happens smoothly and that your tokens will be, migrated onto the Tron blockchain. And at that point, transitioning from Tron token to Tron coin, which I think would be this would be a good time to explain the difference between a token and a coin. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, your tokens, correct me if I'm mistaken here, but your tokens are going to be based off of the ERC20 network versus coins, which are not.
Yeah. Not necessarily just on the ERC20 network. It's a token is something that shares a parent blockchain. But yeah, you were on the right track though.
And in my mind, I'm thinking when I hear tokens, they've got smart contracts.
Yes.
They're on they're probably using Ether. Which is another advantage that Ethereum kind of brings to the table that Bitcoin is just kind of not even in the picture on that one.
Yeah.
Doing smart contracts.
Yeah. And there's very much, Team Bitcoin and Team Ethereum. I'm Team Crypto, so I'm just the kind of guy in the back saying, hey, I don't care what you use as long as you use crypto. I mean, hell, if I owned my own business, I would accept as many different kinds of crypto as I could. If you got Dogecoin, bring it on, dude. You want to spend that Goku coin you've been holding on to since 2012? Bring it, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah.
A bag of chips might cost you about 1 million Goku coin, but it's a thought that counts.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it. Now I'm just
Oh yeah, let's have a
very
look.
curious. I
Go.
going.
Uh-oh. Womp, womp.
It's not even there.
It's gone. It is so gone.
It doesn't exist anymore?
No. Well. Oh, what? Okay. people still trading on it.
Fair.
Or that's got no.
Oh, it stopped. This is the 22nd of October.
Ah, okay.
Oh, that's when it stopped trading.
So October of last year.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, it's done.
Yep. Now we just need a trumper to come in and play some taps for it.
Or Goku coin, no real.
But see, I want to know where that $353 of volume is coming from. Like, is that just some random guy that still has $353 worth of Goku coin?
Yeah, they haven't updated
Yeah.
on Twitter since October.
Super block. What was it? We are still Goku on exchanges and CoinMarketCap. Still the same chain with a new wallet. Exchanges will be updated during the week. Yeah, not for much longer, because about a week later, y'all kind of tanked and quit everything. Gotta love a meme coin, though. I
Yeah.
love a good meme coin.
It's free meme coin.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not afraid to admit that I've made some decent profits on Pepe. I am not above admitting to that.
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely something to be said for, making profits where you can, how you can.
Yeah.
But, it keeps, but I think we got a good sense of where the markets are, between the top two. Ether's down around 430.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin's right at about 6,200, 6,180.
Mm-hmm. Everything's kind of priced at about a third of what it was at its all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, buy now, get you 66% off, man.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if Bitcoin, let's say that you're able to trade in some alts. The thing that makes trading coins powerful is that not only, if you just buy Bitcoin and hold it, and we talked about HODL being dead, but, let's say you just buy Bitcoin and your investment time frame is 6 months. You buy your Bitcoin, and after 6 months you decide you're going to sell. Now, you're going to make whatever Bitcoin makes in that
Yeah.
6 month period, you're going to make that. So, you'll be okay.
It's fixed at that point.
Now, if you do buy into Bitcoin and then trade it into one of the many, many, many altcoins, there's, 1,600 coins out there
Yep.
now. And, so a lot of them, aren't really worth talking about, but there are quite a few that are. So on Binance, you go and let's say you trade in, let's say you double your Satoshi.
Mm-hmm.
Just through some good trades here and there, and just kind of incrementally, double. It's not a day in one day thing.
Right.
But let's say you make, 10% every week for 10 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You build up 10% Satoshis every week, 10 weeks. At the end of the 10 weeks, or that would even only be 2.5 months, not even 6 months. So if you're making 10%, if you're building your stash by 10% every week, then after 6 months, that's going to be more like 240%. So you're like tripling and a half, basically.
Yeah.
So now, let's say you did that. Now you go back into Bitcoin, and then after 6 months, then you sell back into fiat. Bitcoin's price doubles during that time, but since you have that other 3.5 times multiplier of your total Satoshi value, you actually just multiply that across the board, and your 3.5 times multiplier is times the 2 multiplier that you got from the price difference in Bitcoin. Suddenly you're looking at a 7 times multiplier in your initial investment.
Yeah.
There is no universe where you're going to get a 7 times multiplier in stock.
No.
I can guarantee you can sit there and watch CNBC all day. You can be Warren Buffett himself, and you're not going to get 7 times multiplier over a 6 month period.
No. Very
Impossible.
Yeah. Very, very unlikely. Borderline impossible for something like that to happen. The stock market moves in geologic time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have all these big, tech titan companies. People are heavily invested in, and with stocks, you're very much, in my opinion, you're investing in things that are currently available. Or you're investing in things that have been done before. With crypto, it gives people a very, very very good chance to invest in stuff that's coming down the line.
That's right.
So you're actually betting on the future of these companies and these products that are happening. Most notably, like there's one that I've been following for quite some time, since about last year, really. Siren Labs. Their goal is to create the first blockchain-based mobile phone. Which I think, it seems a little impractical, but hey, blockchain-based phone, like,
I mean,
hell yeah.
everyone has a phone.
Yeah, of course.
So the market there is potentially gigantic.
Yeah, and their phone hasn't even hit the market yet, and it won't until like maybe next year sometime. But Siren has seen considerable growth since they initially, went in ICO and came out of ICO.
Let's take a look at old Siri right here.
Sure. Trading symbol is going to be SRN.
Siren Labs token. So again, getting back to the token idea, they use
It's an ERC20 token.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, but we've been sort of following that same trend across the board since January. But if you see leading up into pre-Chinese New Year, it actually did quite strongly.
Oh, yeah. Some nice bumps here. There's one big bump here. That's just the market in general.
I mean, so you're talking about going from the ballpark of about 50 cents all the way up to 350, 360 in just a matter of 20 days.
Yeah.
And that was around the time they announced their plan to build the blockchain-based mobile phone.
Now, like buying it right here is tough.
Yeah, it is. The chart looks bad. Let's face it, it doesn't look good. But the tech is there. The idea is definitely there. Now we're just waiting on execution. And I hope for the best, and I certainly hope that it works out for them.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we wish them all the best. They're not the biggest coin out there.
No, not by a long shot.
But they have some decent volume.
Yeah.
Daily volume is about 1.5 million, which is respectable. All right. Well, I think Siri is one we'll keep an eye on. We'll continue to reach out to news on items on that. Try to keep you guys up to date if we hear anything new about Siri coin. So, getting back here, one of the things we want to do with this stream is we want to connect blockchain enthusiasts with people in the local community, where they live, where we live, where you live, and we want to find out, what businesses are active in the crypto space, and what businesses are active in the crypto space, either offering a product that people might want to buy, or offering, accepting payment.
Yeah. Yeah, and where we live in a fairly progressive city. Lots of young people, lots of tech here, lots of emerging, ideas and stuff. So really, it was only a matter of time before we stumbled across, a business or even a company that deals in crypto. And just this past weekend, I actually stumbled into a business and didn't even realize that they accepted crypto until I was walking out of the door, because the signs they had on the front door were very nondescript, not very noticeable. And, I saw it and I was like, holy shit, I've never seen a business or a retailer here that accepts crypto.
Yeah.
So that was very much our first introduction to that. We actually went and paid them a visit yesterday.
Yeah, and getting into the smoke shop where we were able to go and talk with the employee about the process. My overall impression, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, but my impression was that it's not hasn't yet gained a lot of traction.
Right. It's still very early days.
It definitely still is. So one thing we want to stress about coins, in crypto in general, is that we are pre-adoption, right? We're not even in adoption phase. So, there's going to be some uncertainty. There's going to be varying levels of people jumping on board at different times with different products. I mean, we talked about the Born Hub. So
yeah, absolutely.
that's kind of a retail item that you can buy. This store that we went to, they did accept Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
And we did run into a small issue. I was trying to make a small purchase using Bitcoin by sending that from my Binance account, but there was an issue with the address. Either, maybe I really do think you're on something there when you notice that it's in the address. It says BTC colon.
Yes.
I think I would love to go back and try it one more time and just delete that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
see if that's enough. Because if normally when you make a transaction, you put in the address and whether it's Coinbase or it's Binance, they look at that and then they say, does this look like an address?
Yeah.
And they give you that green check mark. So I'm thinking maybe that was it. Maybe just take that part out.
Yeah,
and we can get
I
it
think
out.
so. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that was the only issue that was preventing that transaction from going through. But I'm actually glad that it sort of locked you out of that transaction, because with other coins out there, if you try to send the wrong coin to the wrong address, then you're just SOL. Like your coins are just gone.
Yeah.
Like they're disappeared forever. Sayonara. That's it. You'll never see them again.
Yeah.
But I think that having that failsafe in place, where it said, hey, address verification, something doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I think that was actually, a bit inconvenient, but ultimately saved your satoshis from being just tossed out into the, the void, essentially.
Into the ether.
Ether, haha, fun, fun. But my overall impressions of it, as far as a smoke shop in here in Athens where we live, I think that they're onto something with that, because what if you don't want a purchase from a smoke shop showing up on your debit card, credit card statement?
There you go.
So, Ethereum, Bitcoin, relatively private, relatively anonymous, can still be traced, but no one's really going to think to check that kind of stuff. Like your wife's not going to just be like, let me see your Ethereum wallet and see what you've been doing. You're not going to do that.
Even if she knows about it, she's not going to ask.
Yeah, but I definitely think that they're headed in the right direction in terms of adoptability and spendability of crypto, especially in a local retailer.
Mm-hmm.
There are still a few hurdles to cross in terms of making sure that the transactions actually go through.
I would say even too, like the employee confidence is kind of low on terms of the whole process.
And bless his heart, he was such a nice kid. But you could tell that he knew about crypto, but wasn't a crypto guy himself.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, he knew what his boss told him. Which is perfectly fine. Crypto is not for everybody. Not everybody's going to jump on board that train. But hey, to me, that's a perfect case of, let's go educate this individual.
Right.
Education is the first step to mass adoption. Because without education and awareness, what does everyone adopt?
Right.
What are we adopting and why are we adopting it?
And going along on that point, I mean, really, with one business accepting crypto, they have a distinct advantage over
Yes.
the same type of business that doesn't accept crypto.
Yeah.
So for people like us, or for coin enthusiasts, regular folks who just have some withdrawal, like you said, for discretionary purposes,
Sure.
they're trying to
Privacy and discretion, yeah.
hmm So at the end of the day, I think it's fantastic, and we are going to continue to reach out to the community for some local folks.
Absolutely.
We're
We've got big things coming. Huge things coming.
Yeah. You might say they're huge. We have quite a few projects both in the Athens and Atlanta area that we're
Yes.
following up on.
And Atlanta is slowly becoming a formidable crypto hub here in the region.
Bitcoin ATMs everywhere.
Yep, Bitcoin ATMs. Those are actually manufactured less than 30 minutes from here in Lawrenceville.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Tech Village in Atlanta,
Yeah.
where Patientory is located. And then BitPay in Alpharetta,
Mm.
the payment processor.
Yeah.
So, all of these companies are, they're moving into Atlanta and seeing Atlanta as a great base to, build their operations and their ideas and their projects.
Yeah.
And our goal is to try to get in touch with as many of them as we can, get to know them, and see what they're all about, and bring awareness to projects like that.
Yeah. Bring the awareness and then bring that information here to a broadcast multimedia format to where the community at large can, link up with those business owners.
Absolutely.
Drive some revenue for them, build the adoption side, for everyone else. Really, whether it's live on our stream, viewing past broadcasts, viewing our YouTube channel, even through updates via Twitter, we are going to be letting you know the results of any investigation that goes
Yes,
in and checks out
absolutely.
the business. If they're, again, we're more consumer advocates in that sense because we're going in first to try it
Yeah.
before anyone else really gets in the door and saying, oh, is this legitimate? Are they just taking people's crypto and running, or is this like a legit business that uses blockchain? Where do they fall on that spectrum?
Absolutely.
So that's what we want to do, is bring that awareness.
And all of these projects that we're going to be working on, all these people that we're going to be talking to, everything that we gather and everything that we discover, we're going to make it completely transparent, break it down so that the everyman understands it, and we'll do our best to explain how these different projects and companies can fit into day-to-day life. Because, we'll just say, BitPay as an example. It's a payment processor.
Yeah.
They give you an opportunity to spend crypto directly off of a credit card. There's a use case there. But there are, with just about anything in this space right now, there are hurdles to jump over and there are hoops to jump through. But in the grand scheme of things, on a bigger timeline, this is we are in the very, very early days, ground floor of the crypto economy.
Yeah, the holy grail, I would say, well, at least some people would say in the crypto community, is getting that Amazon deal. If Amazon can accept crypto,
Yep.
their online sales, I just bought something today off Amazon. If I could have paid with crypto, I would have,
Yeah, absolutely. And another great thing is Craigslist. Believe it or not, you have the ability to search and list items that the seller accepts crypto for.
That's huge.
It's very grassroots.
Exactly. And I think that's the strength of crypto, right? We're looking at a currency that is both an investment vehicle, a store of wealth and, you know, a sort of a way to discreetly participate in the economy.
Yeah.
So all of those great advantages, and I mean, we'll keep bringing you your first thing. So whenever we follow up with them, we will be reaching back out. I think probably in the near future, back with Greenlight, just to
Yeah,
kind of
smoke
go
shop,
through and try to do a successful transaction with them, and maybe speak with some of the other folks who work there. As well.
Absolutely. They were kind enough to leave us some of their business cards and their contact information to the owner and the manager. And, you know, we left some of our business cards with them as well. So we would like to, you know, attempt to set up a time to speak with sort of the upper level staff about where they stand on crypto and sort of get their ideas on, you know, why they started accepting crypto, why they chose Bitcoin and Ethereum, the impact that it had on their business, and things of that nature. So all of that will be coming soon. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have the time to get in the door and chat with them.
Yeah. So those are all some upcoming projects.
And that's just one among many things that we're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really, I mean, like we said, this is kind of an inaugural stream
2.0.
2.0, but truly, you could make the case that this is kind of the inaugural stream.
For many it is, because they didn't see it yesterday.
That's right. So, I mean, the big issue, obviously, before was not creating the pod. We got some requests from some folks.
We did.
We also got some great comments yesterday when we were kind of doing our initial broadcast foray about talking about some international markets, especially in the European region. We also will focus on Asia as well. So we don't want to, make it seem like we're only focused locally. I mean, yes, that's very important for us as residents of the local community, but also in terms of adoption within the U.S. I think it's going to 100% be a very organic, kind of grassroots, like you said, very viral process where, you know, it spreads from the bottom level and then kind of works its way up to larger and larger businesses and institutions.
Corporations. Oh, definitely. And, you know, some of the people that we plan on speaking to are in these big, you know, titanic corporations that are planning, you know, cryptocurrency integrations, blockchain integrations, things of that nature. So that'll be later on down the line. But hopefully we'll be able to get in there soon and toss around some ideas, ask them some questions, and see what they're all about so we can share a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, like, that, sharing that knowledge is what we're all here for. You know, just bringing that discussion. And we invite you to participate as well. You know, if you do have some questions for us, please, you know, dial into the stream while we're live. You can always send us a message. If we're offline, you can reach us, you know, at real_block.talk on Twitter. But also, you can just send us an email.
Absolutely.
I think we'll be happy to engage directly that way. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I'd love if we do get some community questions to kind of bring them up and kind of address them publicly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, obviously being discreet with any personal things there, but definitely, you know, kind of a la Mad Money. He gets these calls and, you know, and kind of addresses them in front of people to show his thought process and like how he arrives at his conclusion.
Yeah. The furthest thing from my mind is for what we're doing here to be very isolated. We set out on this, you know, on this adventure with the goal in mind of building this community of people who are inquisitive and have questions and want to learn more and just really dig their hands in deep and get them dirty and figure out, you know, what the hell is going on with crypto, what is it, how can I use it, and we're all about community engagement. So like he said, you know, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to call me a dumbass or anything, you are more than welcome to post it here in the Twitch chat. Feel free to tweet us at real_block_talk on Twitter. We also have our email address, which it will be incorporated into a surprise that we are working on soon. Once we reach a certain milestone, we might roll out a little surprise to everybody. But that is at a later date.
Yeah.
Won't go into that.
We'll keep it under wraps for now, but definitely keep posted. We do want to also do some follower and some sub at a later time. Giveaways and that kind of thing as well.
Absolutely.
We can get some swag from the community for some Bitcoin stuff, or we can always reach out to developers and that kind of thing and see what they can offer as well.
Absolutely. With this whole Greenlight smoke shop thing, ultimately what I would like to do is, at least have some sort of local partnership. I don't want free stuff from them. That's not how businesses work.
Right.
But I would like ultimately for us to be able to say, hey, this is a legit business that accepts crypto. Everybody needs to know about this. And we have a couple ideas that we'd like to present to Greenlight Smoke Shop in terms of helping them drive revenue and business. So hopefully that'll prove to be fruitful. I think it will be, but that is yet to be determined. But yeah, like I was saying, we're all about helping you guys out and opening everybody's eyes to what is inevitably coming in the next couple of decades.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about it. The rate that the market cap has risen is just so crazy.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the total market cap of all coins right now is hovering around $245 billion.
At its all-time high, it was almost $1 trillion. It was at $900 billion at its peak. That is insane. That is a lot of money.
That is insane.
Like, that is richer than God kind of money.
Everyone. Well, I'll tell you, maybe the problem. Everyone was flush with cash.
Yes, because everybody was doing so well and locking in their profits and reinvesting
IPOs were just sprouting up everywhere, and I think one of the downfalls, and we can kind of discuss this in further detail at a later time as well, but I think one of the big downfalls of where Bitcoin, where there was bad press around some hacks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always a gut-wrenching moment. For those that aren't familiar, there was the Mount Gox incident.
The whale dump,
that happened. And then there's also, these sort of kind of case-by-case incidences on specific coins here and there, where they'll have a 51%, attack that takes over the blockchain for a coin, and then suddenly, all the mining activity is just flowing to a hacker rather than flowing, back to the network to create new blocks. So, that was a pretty clever one. Was that the Verge?
Twice. Twice inside of 2 months. They were hit with a 51% attack in which, since Verge is a proof of stake coin, the hackers were able to infiltrate the network and
it was through a wallet. It was through some kind of specific wallet that they had set up, and it wasn't just your standard deposit kind of withdrawal wallet. It had some other functionality, which I think is where the weakness was.
Yeah, and then a lot of people, their holdings were diverted into an external wallet, i.e. the hacker's wallet, and made off with a pretty tidy sum. Twice, which contributes a lot to why there's a lot of skepticism surrounding Verge right now, is the susceptibility to these kind of attacks and how frequent they can occur. Twice in 2 months, it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good. But, I do have to hand it to Verge. It very much is a one-man team. Like, the Verge
is one dev.
Yeah, just one dev, and he handles social media. He handles, Discord, Telegram, the development. He's got a lot on his plate.
Give that guy a medal.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a good idea, and he had a good, mission that he was trying to accomplish. But people, and true to form, they want and they want and they want, and they're greedy, and it got hacked twice, and I feel bad for the guy. My heart goes out, to the dev there because he's got so much on his plate and he does so much for Verge that just to be consistently shit on by hackers and rabid opposers to Verge. It's sad to see it.
You hate to see it, you really do. Now, we mentioned the kind of internal security of coins as being a potential destabilizing force in the market if they're hacked, or if there's an issue with the wallets going down. Wallets, for those not familiar, you can actually store your cryptocurrency in a local file on your computer. So rather than keeping your money on the exchange, there are some arguments to be made for keeping some liquidity on exchanges for trading purposes, but I would argue one of the safer ways to store your funds when you are invested in everything is to use either an exchange that's just too big to fail, and I mean that's kind of a meme in and of itself because banks too big to fail, bail out, and all that. But or use an external wallet, or
cool.
yeah, I was gonna say, or you can really go the extra mile and get a little USB.
Yeah, Trezor or Ledger, Nano S.
Mm-hmm. Now those I do believe are really not cost effective unless you have a significant amount. So for the casual investor, I'm just not sure it's worth it having a USB wallet. You can, if you want that.
By all means, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you how to cut your grass or anything like that.
That's right.
So what you do, your methods are your methods alone, and don't let anybody tell you any different. I might not agree with you, but like it says on the back of our coin, or not our coin, but our business cards, I may not agree with the coins that you buy, but to the death, I will defend your right to buy them.
That's right.
So, I personally, I store my funds on both exchanges and external wallets. I keep my trading power on the exchanges, and I sort of keep, a little rainy day fund in my MetaMask wallet. As well, I gather my airdrops and stuff there. I just let those accumulate until they have decent trading power, and I just sell them in the ether.
Okay.
And that's actually kind of how I lucked out with Polymath last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good find for sure.
Yeah, $200 out of an airdrop.
Hey, that's nice. So kind of thinking about what these different coins can do once they buff up their security measures internally.
Yeah.
There is a debate right now. We touched on this yesterday, but obviously,
First time for a lot of people out there hearing this.
Inaugural Stream 2.0, so here it is again. We touched yesterday on, kind of there's a ongoing debate right now in the Twitterverse about centralized versus decentralized exchanges.
Yes.
And there was a comment made by Vitalik Buterin, the Ether founder, and he called centralized exchanges, or he called for them to burn in hell, I believe his wording was.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of why he might say something like that?
Okay, so Vitalik Buterin is probably by far one of the strongest proponents for complete and total decentralization. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for that too. I would love for the power to be yanked back from all of these corporations and giving them the big middle finger and saying, this is our stuff, not yours. Piss off. I'm going to do what I want with my stuff. I'm all for that. But I don't think that we are in a place and time to where decentralized exchanges can safely exist. Because, like I said earlier, we're still very, very much in the early days. This is the Wild West. There are scams that happen all the time. There are exchanges that get hacked. There are all sorts of a plethora of things that can happen in the crypto world since it's largely unregulated.
Yeah.
Like there was a case a few months ago where a coin in ICO, they managed to gather some like $30 million in the first round of funding, and as they were supposed to announce all of this, the devs and the founder took a picture of themselves on some beach in Bora Bora saying thanks for the ride, guys. And they just took that money and ran. That's the kind of stuff that happens in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Um,
Now they are starting to crack down on fraudulent ICOs. The
Yes.
SEC has stepped in and said, in clear cases of just straight criminal abuse,
Yes.
then we will step in.
Absolutely. And ultimately, would I like to see totally decentralized exchanges? Absolutely. Give the power back to the traders, the investors, and give it back to the people. It's not even about crypto at this point. Just decentralize everything.
Yeah.
Decentralize with CareX, the healthcare marketplace, with Patientory, decentralize the patient healthcare records,
Yeah.
the database, so things like that. But we just haven't gotten to that point yet to where all of these scammers and hackers and stuff, they haven't gotten it out of their system. The crypto market right now is a very petulant and stubborn teenager. It's going to do what it wants to do. Everybody's still working out the kinks. They're trying to figure out what they can and can't get away with. And until we reach a point to where we're all on the same page and we're all in consensus, I'm sorry, but decentralized exchanges we're not there yet.
There's definitely a risk. We saw recently a major decentralized exchange was hacked, so they're not immune to hacking. And the argument that Vitalik Buterin was making, along with his general encouragement of decentralization, he was saying that the fees that a coin has to pay to be listed on the exchange is a major barrier
Yes.
for some of these smaller projects.
And don't get me wrong, he is right. The accessibility for some of these low cap, low volume coins, it's tough for them to get listed on,
Say
Binance or Bittrex or anything like that. It's really tough. And I wish that it wasn't that way, but right now we're very much in a time and a place to where we sort of have to weed out the bullshit.
We need quality control.
Yes, we very, very much need it, because the fraud and the scams and the theft, it's running very rampant right now. You don't hear about it all the time, but on a larger timeline, a lot is happening right now, and we're still trying to figure out ways to combat that, to regulate some of the nonsense that's going on. And would I love to see some of these small cap, small volume coins listed on an exchange titan like Binance? Absolutely, because the more coins that we can get on there that people are trading against, and more projects can get traded and hopefully raise the coin value, that's great. But right now we sort of have to figure out what's what to keep everybody safe for right now. And it sucks, but in the grand scheme of things, it's probably best right now to let the market figure itself out.
Yeah, I saw an interesting article. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I want to say that I retweeted it earlier. I don't see it right now, but maybe I can look here. So, but they had an interesting article from one of our crypto news sites that we use here, and they said that some 80% of ICOs in 2017 were fraudulent.
Yeah, and that is ridiculous.
I mean, let's just take a moment and think about if that was like the real world outside of crypto. Imagine that you are in a town where 80% of businesses are run by criminals.
Yeah, it's like, imagine yourself pulling into a gas station, paying for gas, but not actually getting the gas that you paid for.
Yeah, you get 20% of what you paid for.
or none at all.
Or
in the
they
case
just
of-
steal the money
and exit.
and they close the gas station.
Yep. And that was rampant last year.
And
It was-
80% of the gas stations in town.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was almost creating a fraudulent ICO back in 2017 was almost more desirable than starting a legit coin because the potential to make this huge amount of money was there.
Big windfall, and then you can make the argument that then you can take that as a seed fund to do something, but these guys weren't doing that.
No.
These guys were taking the money and going to the beach.
Yeah,
you know?
they did not have anyone's best interests at heart. They were only up to nefarious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw ICOs as a quick way to make lots and lots of money,
Yeah.
and sort of take advantage of a lot of the inexperience and a lot of the new money that came in last year. People think they're getting into some, hot shit platforms, when in actuality, people are just sending, mass amounts of ether to these ICOs.
Yeah.
And then, when the main net's supposed to launch, they're just like, see you guys, like, we're flying first class to Tokyo or wherever we're going.
Yeah.
And it was sad. And it turned a lot of people off of ICOs.
Well, we saw, yes, it did. And two big players got turned off by ICOs. Facebook and Google.
Yes. Facebook even took it to the extent of completely banning almost all crypto ads.
I think Google did as well, actually.
Yeah. But Facebook eventually kind of loosened their grip on that,
They did.
and they let some more of the vetted ICOs through,
Mm-hmm.
ones that had use cases and solid development teams and stuff like that.
And the way it works now, it works on a reporting system, so
Yeah.
if its users find a fraudulent ICO, then they can report it, and if an ICO gets enough reports and it's flagged,
They'll
then
pull
it's
it
taken
down.
down. But, so what that means is you still have a chance of seeing an ad for a fraudulent ICO, the odds of you seeing it are lower.
Very, very slim, yes. But I talked a bit about it yesterday, but for the sake of rehashing it out for the
Yeah.
viewers,
Mhm.
there is some speculation that since Facebook is slowly working towards building its own blockchain, that they're going to want to corner the Facebook market as much as possible.
Mhm.
And among my list of friends and pages that I follow, a lot of guys they live stream charting and just just crypto talk and stuff in general.
Yeah.
One of them, a very, very well known and a staple name in the crypto community, won't name any names, but his live stream was cut off in the middle of his stream, and then he was notified that his stream had been blocked in some like 240 countries. And that started happening to more and more people. So more and more people that are talking about crypto on Facebook, especially the live streamers,
Mm-hmm.
are getting their streams shut down halfway through and blocked in hundreds of countries.
Yeah.
So the case could be made there that is Facebook trying to muscle out the competition? Are they trying to lock down the market so only they can influence what goes on and on their social media platform?
It is interesting. Hard to say definitively
Yeah,
if they are
this is
pursuing that, but certainly a lot of the tech giants are looking at blockchain tech, and they're just blown away.
IBM.
IBM moving big.
Western
into
Union.
blockchain. Western Union getting ahead of Ripple on
Yeah.
that game, and some of the other money-related coins.
Mhm.
Monero comes to mind, and that Dash.
Yeah.
No, Zcash.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very interesting stuff. I wanted to make a point off of something you were just saying. Facebook, something about competition.
You mentioned Google briefly.
Hmm.
Was it along that line?
Well, Google did, have an issue with the ads for the ICOs as well, but that's not what I wanted to bring up. I'll come back to it.
Well, since we're on the topic of social media,
Mm.
let's talk about YouTube and its potential involvement with BitConnect.
Yeah, so there's been a recent revival of the BitConnect story, which I thought was somewhat close, to be honest with you. For those that are not familiar, BitConnect is one of the most famous, or indeed infamous, examples of where a coin just went sideways and then downward real fast.
Yeah.
What had happened was last year during summer, again, I'm getting into crypto, I'm looking to diversify. So I'm buying into some of the big three, so Bitcoin, Ether, and Ripple. You could, maybe in the case of Litecoin or perhaps Bitcoin Cash should be in the top three, but for the sake of it, I'm just going to say top three, Bitcoin, Ether, and Ripple for now. Although I do believe at the time, Ripple was like 5 or 6 positions.
Yeah.
So, but in looking to diversify, I reached out and looked at a lending platform
Mm-hmm.
known as BitConnect. So
It's not a scam.
I mean that's what they tell you. So BitConnect had basically worked on the premise where you could, if you wanted to, purchase and hold BitConnect coins just like any other coin, or you could buy the BitConnect coin and then lend it back to the BitConnect, exchange. And what would happen is you lend it and you agree that you will not get your money back, and there was no way to get it back, so you're just in it.
Yep.
For about 270 days, so 9 months. So you gave them. So I had X amount of dollars that I invested in trying to diversify. 270-day contract. If I invested more, the withdrawal time was shorter.
Yeah.
But I went with the minimum, and just to test it out, And so they had a bot or a series of bots running that would just auto trade in between Bitcoin and BitConnect coin. And we just trade back and forth with the price fluctuations using the coins that you lended them, and it would pay out a daily interest profit.
Around 1%.
Yeah, it would generally average around, I would say 1 to 1.5%, which on a daily return,
Not bad. When you
bad.
stretch that out over the contract period, that's 270%,
That's right.
potentially more.
Yeah,
depending on performance.
if not more. So I was well on my way to recouping my initial investment prior to getting that investment back when BitConnect ran into some legal trouble. I mean,
Lots.
there were some issues because some of the people who had accumulated a lot of BitConnect coins and who had established a significant referral base. So in the referral system,
Very
you might think Jordan Belford pyramid style here, but basically you start at the top, and then you refer a couple people, and they refer a couple people, and they refer a couple people, and then suddenly those profits are kind of trickled back up to you. So that was the model. Now what had happened that led to the downfall was that there were certain large players in the BitConnect game who started calling themselves partners.
Mm-hmm.
They started
misrepresenting themselves.
Yeah, they completely misrepresented themselves in terms of their either their investment, credentialing to give advice or what have you. But the Texas Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as I want to say it's New Hampshire Securities and Exchange Commission.
Something in New England, yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of those New England states, and and Texas as well. Initially started the ball rolling, so there was a complaint filed against BitConnect for the reasons mentioned, and essentially it brought all trading to a halt. BitConnect lost 99% of the value
In a day.
Yeah, in like a day and a half. There was a small bump during that,
Yeah, but not enough
you know, people buying the dip, you know what I'm saying?
to buy it.
Yeah, I sell it.
Pro straps right there.
So, you know, it was a great learning experience for me because one of the first things that I had, I mean, you know, I would take those profits, convert them into Bitcoin, and then send them off other places. So I was getting good practice doing that, you know, on the daily. You had to accumulate a certain number of satoshis before you could actually send out, but I mean, you got there within a few days, depending on how the market was doing.
Yeah. And tying all that back into how YouTube fits into this class action lawsuit,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these people who were misrepresenting themselves as partners, they were using YouTube as sort of a base of operations to build that network and build their pyramid. And the argument that a lot of people are making, especially the ones that are involved in this class action lawsuit against BitConnect and YouTube, are saying that YouTube didn't do its due diligence in sort of vetting these people, and by allowing potentially harmful material onto the social media platform without saying, hey, this could potentially be harmful, continue at your own risk. They just kind of gave free rein to all of these BitConnect partners, let them do what they did.
Yeah.
And these, last year there was a lot of new money flowing in. So all these inexperienced investors are like, oh man, I don't have to trade anything. Let's just let BitConnect do this for me and make these monstrous returns. And don't get me wrong, the people that got in very early days of BitConnect and rode it all the way to the top, they made out fantastically.
Oh yeah.
Like over the course of a couple of years, maybe a year and a half in BitConnect's life, there were people that were made into millionaires.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at a 4,000% gain over the course of a year and a half with BitConnect pricing, and then if you factor in the referral system of of rewards just growing and growing and growing, we're talking. People have rewards on rewards on rewards, and it just kept flowing. And they do giveaways, and they get more followers, and it had a lot of the elements of a successful, social enterprise. The only problem is that a few people got carried away over advertising, I would say, and then because of that, really BitConnect had to bite the dust. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even say over advertising. I would just say falsely advertising themselves because these people were claiming to be, affiliates and partners of BitConnect when in actuality they were just private investors.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it was false statements that were made, and that's ultimately what got them in trouble.
Yeah, and I understandably so. A lot of people were upset at YouTube for allowing that sort of thing to go on without sort of checking the system and saying hey, or this could be potentially harmful to you, but YouTube didn't do that.
Now, is that, I would pose the question, is that YouTube's responsibility?
Is it their responsibility to make sure people don't make a fool of themselves? No. People are free to do whatever they want to. That's the wonderful thing. But does YouTube inherently have a responsibility to at least warn people that what they're doing could be harmful? Because, and I would say yes to that, because take a look at some of the content that's posted on YouTube. It'll stop you and say, hey, this content may be unsuitable for people under 18.
Yeah.
Please click here to continue. Blah 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 blah. What's the difference?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they could have easily done a content warning, or even something like across the board. Just have anything related to investing, for example.
Sure.
Say a little blurb saying, just keep in mind when accessing this kind of content, YouTube doesn't really endorse any of this stuff.
We don't endorse it. We don't share opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that YouTube should be bent over for billions of dollars in this class action lawsuit? No, that's a little excessive. Could YouTube have done things differently? Absolutely. Let this be a learning experience to YouTube. And better governing the content that's posted, especially the stuff that could cost people potentially, billions of dollars, across the board.
Yeah.
Because like you said, 99% downfall in a day and a half, you spread that out across, hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people that have potentially invested in this, and we're talking about billions of dollars just poof, gone.
Oh yeah.
Never see it again. And since at that time crypto was largely unregulated, there's nothing the government can do about that.
Yeah.
They can't be like, oh yeah, we'll help you out. So a lot of these people are actually depending on the success of this class action lawsuit to try to recoup some of these funds that was taken from them.
Hey, if I get a check in the mail from the BitConnect class action lawsuit, I'm not gonna complain.
No, absolutely not. I personally never used BitConnect. I, at the time, being very new to crypto, I thought, hey, this seems like a good alternative to, traditional trading.
Yeah.
But unfortunately at the time, but fortunately much later, I didn't have the funds to invest into BitConnect to lend to it and generate some of that passive income from it. But I do know a lot of people that lost out on BitConnect. You were actually able to get pretty close
Yeah.
to your initial investment.
Yeah, and if you factor in kind of the fact that Satoshis, were being used at a time when the Satoshi price was, Bitcoin price was going up,
Yeah.
You could make an argument that basically it broke even on it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I was fortunate for that, but not everyone was, and so I can understand the frustration there.
Absolutely. So, I know that, the powers that be will figure out the best course of action for YouTube and its involvement in BitConnect. But my personal opinion, I don't think that YouTube should, bear most of the brunt for this.
Yeah.
Because we were at a very, very inexperienced time in crypto, and we were still very much learning the ropes. Everybody was, not just the people that were new to it, but the entire system was still learning. And sometimes you learn a tough lesson. Sometimes you get your ass kicked,
Yeah.
and sometimes you kick ass.
That's right.
So I think YouTube got its ass kicked. It took its licks. Let them be. They know better now.
Mm.
We all know better now.
Yeah. Well, we will after everyone watches the stream.
Yes. We're going to turn all of you into crypto geniuses yet.
Yeah. It's a process, and some of it's trial and error. Sometimes
absolutely.
You got to try things out. You might think a coin is good, it turns out to be fraudulent. You might think it sounds fraudulent, it turns out to be good.
Absolutely.
You can always try to check those things out. So that was definitely an interesting one. I wanted to see what your thoughts were on the recent spat between John McAfee and Hit BTC. Have you been following the Twitter drama?
I have not. I honestly have never used Hit BTC before. But John McAfee, come on, like
Big name.
Big name. Not even in crypto, just in tech in general.
Yeah. I mean, McAfee, Internet Security Suite, loved or hated, over time. He left that company. I don't know if he just sold out or what happened there.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I probably am, I usually am, I think he was actually forced out by the board.
Well,
That's it. Wikipedia is always 100% factual.
yeah, we can do a quick search of Rooney here.
John effing McAfee. But yeah, John McAfee is very much one of those people you either love or you hate him. A lot of people say, he's a shill, that he just, his entire crypto career is based off of him promoting shitcoins, or accepting payment from just any company to write a tweet about some coin. Let's.
He resigned.
He resigned. Okay, so yeah, I was mistaken.
But I mean, essentially the same result. And the thing about this is he was able to, nonetheless, even with resigning, get a significant stock position.
Of course.
With McAfee. So, with that, he was able to sell off, and then now he's considered, one of the biggest personalities,
Mm-hmm.
in the crypto space. And so I was asking your opinion on this recent spat because, so John McAfee has I'm not gonna say it's a pet project, but he has projects that he's invested in that he believes in. One of which is to provide health care for impoverished people. And so his big issue is that some of the larger exchanges, because keep in mind, he's very much anti-centralized exchanges, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's right there with Buterin. He's saying, hey, we need decentralization, we need openness, we need, that kind of thing. And the reason is because one of his pet projects is, that this healthcare coin. Basically, it's not. There's issues with like the amount of coin you need to purchase. It's either the buying threshold or the selling threshold. One of the thresholds for like moving in or moving out of the coin is too high, and it's preventing smaller investors from really getting into it, and so it's really hurting the coin. And so he has really lashed out against HitBTC specifically. There's some really good Twitter stuff on it right here. Let's see if I can get that pulled up here. We can actually probably get it pulled up right here on the stream. So let's get that going. And just here. So
If you haven't already yet, this is our official Block Talk Twitter. Feel free to drop a follow. We'll greatly appreciate it. This is where we're going to be dumping most of our news that we've discovered across the web. And also, we'll be posting announcements about our stream as far as when we're about to go live. We ran a little late today, but we ran into some technical difficulties with Streamlabs, but alas, we made it. But yeah, just keep an eye out on our Twitter. That's going to be our primary form of communication outside of the stream, and that's where you'll find us. So let's see here.
Alright, so Docademic
Yes,
BTC
okay.
is the coin that he is really pushing. So they're trying to trade on HitBTC. Let's go ahead and give them a little follow here. By the way, you can get to John McAfee's Twitter as @officialMcAfee.
There are a lot of cheap imitations out there trying to pass as the real John McAfee, but this is the one and the only Twitter page you will find for him.
Charles Nader, CEO of Docademic, on
Yep.
the cover of Forbes Latin America.
Good stuff.
Okay, so here's his beef here with HitBTC. He says it's as if centralized exchanges have become the criminal cartels of crypto. I could care less whether they are laundering money and using their position for criminal activities, but if they are also, quote, open to the public, then they better serve that public. And so there's a little bit more if we dive in here on some of the old tweets. The crypto exchanges have become the thing that we have originally fought against. Their power is immense. HitBTC, for example, has increased suffering for millions of poor people who cannot afford the minimum buy-in since it's greater than their monthly income.
Okay.
Boycott them.
I
Now,
see what's going on.
Docademic has a humanitarian. It's aimed at providing free basic health care worldwide and, quote, making the world a better place.
Sure.
In his post, Mac discovered HitBTC's high fees and limitations surrounding MCT tokens on their platforms has increased suffering. And he says, at HitBTC, I will be your worst enemy. Until you prove that you're aligned with our community and truly interested in helping the poor, you've not done shit, excuse my language, to help access the only free healthcare in the world.
Yeah. John McAfee, for better or worse, carries a lot of weight in the crypto community, and that statement in and of itself is something that should not be taken lightly by these exchanges.
Look at these numbers here. 845,000 followers.
This is the guy, like, if he says something, you best believe the shit that he says is serious. This guy is, again, for better or worse, he is crazy. He is a maniac. I've always equated him to the Hunter S. Thompson of crypto. He's just this big, loud, brash personality.
Just in the heart of backcountry.
And, yeah, in the heart of backcountry. And this guy's had 11 attempts made on his life.
So, speaking of that.
The recent one.
Yes, well, does that happen? I don't, I believe you're more familiar with the details, but responding to that recent attempt on his life, he's been firing at Hit BTC all day. This is what they tweeted right here, this picture. Get well soon, John. Your friends at Hit BTC.
Oh, that's just poking the hornet's nest.
Oh, man,
like,
the bear is getting poked.
What? That is a very, very foolish move on Hit BTC's part. In light of everything that's happened to him within the last 30 days, actually, because I want to say it was either the end of, it would have been the end of last month, that he was hospitalized
June 30th.
because of an assassination attempt on his life, making it the 11th or 12th attempt on his life.
Jesus.
He was poisoned by an individual, and there was a whole Twitter storm about it and everything. He posted a picture of the individual he believed to be the attempted assassin and offered a $5,000 reward just for his name.
Oh.
All he wanted was his name.
Wow.
So, whoever he is out there, the guy that tried to take John McAfee's life, you have poked one hell of a bear.
Yeah.
And this bear has billions of dollars that he will devote in making sure that you never see the light of day again.
So, after HitBT sends this tweet with the get well, which I thought was pretty cheeky. John McAfee says, I fired the first shot in the war that must be fought. Our exchanges are connected to our banks and our government. To take down the entire system, we must first take down our exchanges.
Okay.
Distributed exchanges are coming. I have singled out at HitBTC because they are the worst. Now, finally, HitBTC responds. Because they've been getting flat, left and right, and all they sent was a get well card. So, they need to respond, right? I mean, this is as you said, big player in the space.
Very, very.
Lots of
probably
influence.
one of the biggest.
Yeah. I mean, his ICO advertisement or his altcoin advertisement last year, he would. I don't know if shill is exactly the term I would use. He would recommend.
But
a coin.
There is the argument that could be made because he openly admitted in an interview to Bad Crypto Podcast that he would tweet out anything if you paid him, like, I want to say $125,000. So that
pay to win.
Yeah. So if you have enough money, you can pay for some big name like John McAfee to hype your coin just in a single tweet.
Okay.
And with the amount of followers that he has, that's a pretty big network.
Okay. Well, let's see what HitBTC has to say. This pretty incendiary tweet, I would say. On July 1st, we finally hear HitBTC's full response. Thank you very much, official McAfee, for being the voice of the crypto community and raising this important problem. It's great that you raised the problem. We have been considering it for a while, because the question of the fees.
Yeah.
And your voice took this discourse to another level. An exchange charges its withdrawal commission to further pay the ether, which is required for sending the transaction to the network. To maintain the balance, the commission should be equal to the amount we pay for the transaction and be charged in ether. Some users do not hold ether on their accounts, and most of the users withdraw tokens, which leads us to a conclusion that the commission should be charged in that very currency a user is going to withdraw. HitBTC has been known for providing its community with a wide range of digital assets, which is considered attractive by most of our customers. Some of these assets are highly volatile and some are less volatile. We do not see a problem either in monitoring token prices and automatically updating them on an hourly basis, or in correcting the commission manually in particular cases, the way we have made a manual adjustment for the token we are talking about. But some of the assets are still more volatile, so their price can change within an hour. We think that your advice on this problem would be very valuable. What algorithmic solution would you propose to resolve this issue that we believe most of the exchanges face? We will highly appreciate if you could share your vision. Thank you for being the voice of the crypto community. We share your values. Sincerely,
Okay. Hey, that's a nice, semi-sincere response.
While HitBTC's retaliation settled in, I don't know if I would call that retaliation per se, McAfee took to Twitter again to dispel the community's argument that he is only defending Dokademic because of his financial interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am an investor in Dokademic, says John McAfee. I invested as soon as I saw their groundbreaking system, but I do not need their money. I invested to help Dokademic. HitBTC's unethical tactics cost me and everyone money. Would you not be irate?
Mm.
So, at this stage, the King of Crypto has expressly mentioned that it is his intention to pursue HitBTC's service providers in legal proceedings, not the company itself. Already, McAfee has received a huge rally of support for his recent actions against HitBTC, with a flow of comments from followers outlining their unsatisfactory experiences with the exchange and how action against it has been long overdue.
Okay. I understand now.
So that's the latest. That's the latest on that. So I think what's interesting about that is that we kind of come back to the whole exchange issue. Sometimes, I mean, crypto was designed so that the little guy could get in.
Absolutely.
You know,
100%.
And not just here in the U.S., which we think of the little guy still has a little bit of disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it in an impoverished country,
Where there's not.
or a destitute country, or a famished country, they do not have the luxury of that.
Survival there is very much on a day-to-day basis.
That's right. And so anyway, having this opportunity, to get into crypto, but then being denied because of fees or
Mhm.
barriers to entry, it's kind of like when you're buying an altcoin and you don't have enough value to actually sell.
Yep.
That
That happens quite often.
And
You
suddenly,
get left holding those bags.
yeah, you're stuck. You can't sell out. You're just sitting there. I mean, there are actually, I think Cryptopia increased its fees last year pretty
It did.
substantially.
Yeah. It went from the minimum trade had to be 5,000 satoshis, and then they increased it to 50,000 without any warning.
Mm.
I was actually getting ready to start trading on the day when I found that out, and it was just a total shitstorm for Cryptopia. Their moderators and everything were just inundated with hate mail because at that time a lot of new people were getting into the crypto market. They didn't have tons of money to throw around, so they were really depending on like 25,000, 30,000 satoshis to trade with, and then boom, all of a sudden you have to have 50,000 to meet the fees, and it just got bad really quick. But I understand that these platforms cost money to run, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Just be transparent about it with your base of support. Don't spring these surprises on people. Like if Binance were to raise their minimum trade, they would probably notify their subscribers, weeks in advance. But Cryptopia kind of missed the ball on that one.
Well, sometimes the crypto space does spill into politics, and I just found an interesting little tweet here off of Roger Veris that he was responding to.
Okay.
And this is from Theresa May.
Crown Prince of Bitcoin.
Theresa May, this deal, talking about the deal with Australia. This deal is an enormous boost for the UK economy. I've always been clear that as we leave the EU, we have an opportunity to build on our close relationships with allies like Australia. This is a perfect illustration that the government is doing exactly that.
So Australia agreed to contract up to $20 billion or pounds for British warships. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Just a little trying to get the political points there, but it looks like Roger Ver is actually not a big fan of this. And I think crypto brings people together kind of naturally over time. And so, maybe he's coming from the perspective of saying, well, we need to be bringing more people together, not kind of dividing and separating and isolating.
Very much so. That is one thing I will agree with Roger Ver on, is that, the crypto community is still a community. Like, there are people that you need to bring together. We're not just a bunch of basement, mouth-breathing dwellers that, sit in front of a screen all night and trade on crypto. Like, we're very much, we're average people. We get out, we have jobs that we got to do. We got bills to pay, and why not nip it in the bud and bring all these people together and put them on the same page? Don't alienate people. One of the biggest things that I believe in, that the crypto community will help accomplish, is drawing these far-flung communities that normally would never interact with each other and putting them at the same table.
Yeah, it does really bring people together in interesting ways. So I think we've managed to kind of give us a snapshot, I would say, of kind of what's going on in the crypto space, where we've been in the past, over the past week, investigating in the community, as well as kind of really setting the tone and kind of the initial establishment of where we want to go here on stream. We would love to hear any questions that do come up. So for those that are going to be tuning in, not live per se, but just watching the broadcast, please don't hesitate to reach out. Any questions about anything to talk about, any new topics, follow-ups, we want to get that discussion going. So
don't feel like you can't ask us any questions. We personally respond to every single tweet that comes in. We got a couple of messages on Twitch last night, talking about whether or not our video on demand would be made available, but alas, due to my noobery, I didn't realize that VOD was something that needed to be enabled, but moving forward, it is. So if you're catching this live or on VOD, please feel free to drop a message in the chat. I read everything. We both read everything. And we definitely do our best to make sure that everyone gets responded to. That's our big thing, is just community engagement. I said yesterday, we're not just a couple of talking heads on a computer screen.
That's right.
We're both people too. Y'all are people. So let's come together and let's bounce some ideas and just talk about stuff. And hopefully we can answer any questions you might have, address any concerns. Really, the only thing we won't do is give you trading advice. That's the only line we will not cross.
And then that's, again, because we don't have the certification for it, the licensing. But we do want to just stress that we will share, the tips and tricks and knowledge that we've gained, being involved in the space. And so we will do our best to prepare you to make the best decisions for yourself.
Absolutely. And if you want to know more about what we're personally invested in, I don't have a problem answering that. I'll be more than glad to tell you what I've traded on the last week, 2 weeks, the past year. I don't care. We're trying to do our best to keep this as transparent, as seamless, as educational and informational as possible. So, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to call me a dumbass, that's perfectly fine. Just drop a message, talk to us, let us know you're there.
We want it all.
Don't be shy.
Negative.
We won't bite.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up our stream topics that we had intended to talk about for today. Do you have anything else you wanted to add in?
No, I mean, as far as what we've got noted here for today's topics, it looks like we've touched everything for the most part. We don't want to bog you down with information. We kind of got a late start today, so that's a reason for the shorter stream. But as we're slowly learning how to operate the broadcasting software, and over time we will be developing it and making it much more attractive to you, the viewers. So all we ask is for a little bit of patience and a little understanding, and if you have any suggestions on how we can better the stream, we are definitely open to it. We love constructive criticism. So if you have anything you'd like to tell us, give us some advice, feel free to. And as always, we are open to donations. Anything that's donated towards the stream will be put towards to helping us develop the production value of the stream. We would love to be able to put together as professional a production for you guys as possible, but at the end of the day, we're relying on you, the viewers, to help us out with that. So if you find it in your heart to donate, please do. It's greatly appreciated, but don't spend your bottom dollar on us. Just keep viewing, follow us, subscribe if you can, and we will hopefully see you next time.
Yeah, and keep your ears peeled for our new lending platform.
Yeah, man.
No, just kidding on that one. We're not we're not
Oh,
big
yeah.
bags.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, but it's been great getting a chance to discuss these topics. Tune in, check the Twitter again
Yes.
at real_block.talk.
He'll actually he'll drop the cursor in the chat. I'll go ahead and post that. All right. If I could type. Oh, Jesus Christ. There we go. That's where you'll find us. That's where we live most of the time. And that's where all of our useful information, all of our news and stream announcements will be. We're slowly working on developing a stream schedule. This is still very early days for us, so we're trying to cobble together a very consistent and reliable schedule. That way you guys know where we'll be and when we'll be there. So stay tuned for that. It'll be posted directly to Twitter as soon as that's finalized. Other than that, I think that's just about it for me. Unless you have anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, that's going to be it for me as well. So thanks for tuning in, whether live or later on. And we hope you have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next week with some more crypto goodness. So have a great one, and take care, y'all.
Yep.